And a good day to you, Explorer Nation. John Lynskey here, Season 4, Episode 23, and the final episode of the year for Looking Back with Lynskey. And what a no better way to wrap up this season with the distinguished principal of Columbus High School, 25 years an Explorer educator, going into his 10th year as principal, the longest tenure by far. A Hall of Famer, and they say James Brown was the hardest working man in showbiz. Well, let me tell you, David Pugh was the hardest working man in education. So it's my pleasure to introduce the one and only Principal David Pugh. Dave, welcome to the show, buddy.
Hey, John. Thank you. Morning.
Good morning. And you know, at this, it's 8 o'clock or whatever. You've already been up for 4 hours or whatever the case may be.
It's actually, I've been in the office for the last 2 hours. I got here about 6 o'clock.
Yes.
But you're too nice, John. You're still too nice. Thank you.
Well, Coach Pugh, the thing is, you know, I think what people don't realize, some do, is that the traditional 9 months of school, 3 months off, those days are gone, particularly for administrators like yourself. The campus never sleeps anymore. There's so much going on, and you're always there at the forefront. So I tip my hat to you, Dave.
Well, John, I think, times are very different now, and I think you have to be prepared going into August. We have camps on campus still active today. We had 3 weeks of summer school. Our administrators have been in and out of the office. Dr. Vila, thank God, he finally got out last week.
Oh, he needed to.
I was begging him to just put things down and spend some time with his family. And thank God he is. No, they work hard. Everyone works so hard here at this school. And, you can say a lot about its success, but it's all through the hard work of the team. IT is active here right now, putting the infrastructure together so that we have better Wi-Fi during the school year. Place doesn't, it doesn't slow down, John.
No, it doesn't. And the thing is, Dave, your career has been marked by being a grinder. There's no substitute for hard work, and you encompass that. And I'm not blowing smoke at you because I don't have to. I've watched you do it for too long, and there's no substitute for hard work. And success is not an accident. And you've got to be very proud of where we're at right now.
Well, I think we had another historic year. Just amazing what this school is able to accomplish. We have over 1,700 young men, and the work that our Marist educators do day in and day out, it's just amazing. And so many of them are active today, John. So many of them are still involved today. Right now in the summer, they're grinding it out in the summer. Coaches, moderators. They're working hard.
Dave, you stole my first question because I was going to ask you, because as we both know, every school year is different. Everyone has its own character, its own highlights, lowlights, whatever the case may be. And I was going to ask you to define what this school year was like, and you just used the word historic. Okay. So, David, what made it historic in your mind?
Well, listen, first of all, what these young men have been through over the last 4 years, right?
Yeah.
And the entire community, what we have been through to come out of COVID the way we did, and to achieve and to have the success that we had this year was just amazing. State championships, national championships, clubs, activities, sports, basketball back-to-back, football, the third championship in the last 4 years, CCNN back on top again in the nation, in the state, debate. I mean, so many programs that just flourish here at Columbus. And it's really, you talk about that success and you talk about hard work and desire, dedication, commitment. That sums it up, really.
Um, speaking about COVID, you know, this year's senior class, they're going to be the ones that were freshmen when COVID hit. And I know this is going to last for years, the ripple effect of COVID. David, as principal, how much have you seen when it comes to social change or lack of progress or whatever with the COVID years? Have you noticed anything different, or are we getting back into the norm?
Well, I got to say, I think we're back. We're starting to get back into the norm. And, we just got our AP results back. And it's just amazing uh, how quickly we have come back. There was a slight dip that we noticed nationally. There was a slight dip in grades, high stakes assessments, AP testing. Uh, we are back with having taken more AP tests this year than in the history of the school, and we are at 84 percentile passing rate.
That's
Which
amazing.
5 years ago we were at 83%, and today we just got our testing back at 84%. It's just amazing. It's a testament to the dedication, the resilience of our community, the commitment to the teachers. We have seen this uptick this year, especially. So that has to tell me one thing, and that is that we are starting to get back to the norm.
It's because our teachers are so dedicated, as you said earlier, and our kids, particularly the AP kids, really want to learn, and so that's good news. Now, what about Coach Pugh? What about socially? Because you and I both know that ninth grade year, if there's any bumps in the road, they generally occur in ninth grade when that whole process that I don't know how it's done, it just gets done, where you take kids that are coming from different schools with little cliques and public school kids and private school kids and everything else, and we have to turn them into Columbus kids. And it takes ninth grade, sometimes part of 10th to do that. When you lose that chance to do that hands on, so to speak, uh, have you noticed that? Or again, you think we're getting back into the norm?
No, John, I think, well, first of all, you have to cultivate a culture. And,
Yes,
and, we have really, and you have been part of this. We've worked hard to cultivate that culture of respect for one another, the amount of pride that this community has and these young men feel. I have to say that our senior class really stepped up with leadership,
great.
and they set the standard, and they knew what the standard was when they left, uh, and when they came back as juniors. Leadership was a focus, and that's something that we really talked about with that class. We're going to do it again this year with the rising seniors, but it's those young men that have to get up and lead, and they set the example, just like we set the example for the senior class. Seniors set the example for the young guys, and then there's expectations that they know they have to be met.
You know, you're killing me, Pew, because you keep answering my questions before I ask them. I guess we've worked together too
We've
long.
we have, absolutely. I've
But
enjoyed every minute of it, though, John.
yes, yes, I couldn't agree more. You know, Dave, build on that word culture, because it's a catchphrase. You hear about heat culture, for example, and Pat Riley and all that, and I believe that to be true. So, as principal, how would you, David, define Columbus culture?
To me, the Columbus culture starts with the Marist brothers, and it
Okay,
starts with the pillars, the love of work, the faith that's instilled in our young men, the hard work that goes into developing the culture that exists today. It's about respect. It's an inclusive culture. As you know, we have over 1,700 young men. They come from all over. Uh, vast differences socioeconomically, right? Culturally, nationally, we have students coming in from outside the country. But yet, the one thing that really bonds us, brings us together, is that brotherhood, and that brotherhood starts with it all comes back to the culture, and it's what it's the impression that the Marist brothers have developed here over the years, and I think it's the lay ministry now who has bought into that Marist culture, and I truly believe that. It's been 25 years, and and I believe that the culture uh, really begins and ends with the Marist brothers.
Yeah, and I think to your point, the torch has been passed to a large extent to the lay faculty, the lay administration at Columbus, and President Tom and all that. But I think we all understand and value that tradition, and we carry it forward. Now, I got a question for you, and this just randomly popped in my head. As we get larger, and I know we can't get really any larger in enrollment. We can't. It's just
No.
no, we can't. However, with the development of Columbus West, if you will, as we call it, with the new building and everything, it's almost like they're in a different area code out there. And it's hard enough, as you know, with schedules and everything else. You might not even see people that work in C building for months at a time. Now going all the way out west, we've got a dean out west and everything else with Bob Linforce. Does that concern you at all that there's going to be this separate? Because we talked about this before it happened. Now it has happened. What do you think about trying to bring Columbus West and Columbus East, make sure we stay together?
Yeah, I mean, John, a lot of that is how we place the teachers within the buildings. A
Yeah.
lot of it has to do with the scheduling that Dr. Vila takes care of before the school year. We do a really good job with bringing them together for campus ministry. We do a good job in field days and providing different opportunities for our entire student body to come together. As you know, though, our masses are separated. We have to bring in the freshmen, sophomores, then the
Yeah.
juniors and seniors. Unfortunately, our pep rallies are the same.
Yeah.
We have to split the pep rallies. There's some things that we can do, and I think we do a great job of bringing us together. I think a lot of the activities that we have on campus bring students together from freshman year through senior year. I think athletics brings students together, and I think with campus ministry, they also do a great job of seniors leading freshmen. But it has gotten much more difficult, John. That's just a fact. It's gotten much more difficult because you cannot put the entire student body in that gym today.
No, and hopefully down the road that'll get alleviated at some point. But 25 years, Dave, that's a quarter of a century. This is my 40th coming up. So from your point of view, what have been some of the biggest changes looking back to the late 90s when you started? Some things have remained the same, which is good, but there's been a lot of change. How would you characterize some of the change you have seen?
Yeah, one, I will say this. I give the administrative staff, the Marist brothers, all the credit in the world, the alumni, uh, and parents, everyone who supports the school. Every dollar that's raised for this school goes right back into the school.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
I mean, 25 years in the buildings, the amount of resources, the facilities that are around us today that didn't exist 25 years ago.
No.
And I'm not talking just athletics, John. I'm talking
No, I know you are. Yeah.
in every way, academically, clubs and activities, sports, the facilities are state of the art. I mean, it would be tough to find high schools that have the facilities, colleges and universities that have the facilities and resources that we have today. And we're blessed for that. But really it was strategic planning.
Yes, no doubt. And there's a lot of planning ahead, and Dave, you didn't go to Columbus, obviously. You're from Pittsburgh, and you've brought
My
that
son did
skill.
though.
Yeah, I was good. Yes, there you go again,
Yeah,
Pugh. You're killing me.
there we go.
You brought that steel town blue collar work ethic to Columbus, but you're one of those guys that you're a Columbus guy for however you define a Columbus guy. I don't know if you can define it. You just know what
Thank
it
you.
is.
I'm
But
honored to be called that. Yes.
well, it's a fact. In fact, you have an honorary diploma from Columbus. But your son has a real diploma from
Yes, he
Columbus,
does.
and as the years pass, and we've always made a point of this, we do our best to hire competent, capable alumni. It just does help. And a lot of David Jr.'s classmates now work at Columbus. That you made some strategic hires. So let's talk about the future a little bit, Dave, because nothing lasts forever. All things must pass. Some of the giants and the legends are have moved on or are getting close to the end. How vital is it to keep that chain, the links in the chain connected?
Well, I tell you, well, first of all, the support that Tom offers as president has been phenomenal.
Yeah.
So, and certainly appreciate that, and the guidance and leadership and the mentorship that Chris McKeon and Butch Diano and those that are here today with us still, what they do for me and the administration is amazing. Um, you know, I try to emulate great principles, the principles that were here prior. Brother Michael brought something that no other principal brought in his way of bringing people together and what he did in campus ministry. Uh, Brother Angelo, but Brother Edmund, Brother Pat, obviously,
Yeah.
and in creating a circus environment and just as much controlled chaos as you could have on a campus.
Yes.
I remember that, and I think at times we bring that here, and that's wonderful Maris charism, and that's the spirit that he left. But one person that I try to emulate in terms of hiring, and keeping them, and hoping that every employee that I hire will be on that Hall of Fame is Brother Edmund.
Yeah. Yeah. I couldn't agree more with that because you have made some amazing hires. You took some flyers on people. Let's face it, everybody needs that first chance. Uh, Brother Edmund, for example, took flyers on Fred Foyo, Steve O'Brien, and myself. Okay. With no questions asked, come on in, and it worked out okay. And so when
And
you
did really
hire
well with
David,
those three.
yeah, for better or worse, how often do you just kind of follow your gut on a hire? Maybe it doesn't add up on paper, but
Yeah.
there's always intangibles. I think we have followed the gut a few times.
The hiring process is one of the most instrumental in building this school and maintaining it and keeping what we have today. In the last 10 years, I happen to look at this because of our reaccreditation that we're preparing for. But in the
Yeah.
last 10 years, I hired 125 teachers.
Jeez.
Um,
Jeez.
yeah,
That many?
now many of them came in when we went from 6 periods to 7.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That was a big jump.
It was.
Uh, but I put a lot of pride in hiring teachers here at Columbus, and they have to fit the what it is we do here. And I'll tell you what I'll do. A lot of times we don't have positions available But just this summer, I've met with at least 10 people outside who understood that we did not have any positions available, but still were willing to come in and meet with me, so that if something does become available, I know that, having met them once, I know that they'd be a good fit here at Christopher Columbus High School.
Yeah, that ace in the
You do
hole.
have a gut feeling, John. You're right. A lot of it is a gut.
And you got to trust that. And it's good to have that ace in the hole to reach into that drawer and pull it out. And oh yeah, that guy. Oh yeah, her. Yeah, I mean, failing to prepare is preparing to fail, and we never know what's going to happen next when you're dealing particularly with 1,700 boys and 125, whatever it is, faculty members. So, David, speaking of the faculty and change, when I was in school all those years ago, there were hardly any. You could count them on maybe three fingers, female teachers, women teachers. 25 years ago, when you started, the number had gone up, but not that significantly. Talk about today, the role that women teachers play at Columbus High School and what they bring. We're
Oh,
talking about intangibles that you can't measure. The female influence on an all male student body.
absolutely. There's a lot of strength there. And what makes me most proud is how many of the female teachers now have attained leadership roles on this campus.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and they continue, and I believe that they will continue, and we will add more to the administration and more female teachers in leadership roles. They certainly come, with the ideal amount of strength, but yet empathy and compassion, and they definitely have a motherly way of delivering a message, but yet still, right, uh, setting the expectations high, expecting our students to rise to the occasion. Um, I mean, they don't let them off the hook, John. You know
No,
that.
yeah.
They are disciplinarians as well.
Well, yeah, you have to be, and you have to be a disciplinarian. And one thing, Dave, is with the diversity of the student body now, it was just different a long time ago. There are kids that lack maternal care at home,
Mhm.
and I think our women teachers do a great job
Yeah.
in filling that role for at least, the time the boys are on campus. They have somebody, something that offers that role in their life.
Yeah, I think that's a great way of stating it, John. Absolutely. 100%. They are here for the students. They're here for all the right reasons. They do a phenomenal job in educating them, but more importantly, it's the guidance and the mentorship um, that our teachers, provide to our students, and our female teachers, they do a great job of it. There's no doubt about that.
They are special ladies, no doubt about
And
it.
and they're tremendously respected by our students.
Yes, that disrespect, well, there's zero
Well,
tolerance for.
there's no tolerance.
Yeah, take your
That
talents
that too.
elsewhere. Yeah.
Right.
Dave, I think one thing that people may not understand or grasp so much is when they think of the principal, they just think, well, he runs the day to day with the kids in the school and everything else. Your job is much, much more than that. Sometimes even I shake my head at how many different hats you have to wear. So let's talk about that a little bit because there is the day to day of the school, but then there's the whole different component of dealing with what Tom is doing, President Kruchek is doing, and all of that. The alumni you mentioned earlier, who are, God bless them, keep
Yeah.
us going, and dealing with our school board. So talk about some of those relationships that people may not quite get. What else you do? The relationship you have, the goals that you and Tom set, dealing with the goals of the school board and the characters involved. Talk a little bit about it's not just dealing with kids anymore.
No, you're right, and, I think sometimes the biggest challenge is dealing with the personalities, John. I mean,
Yeah.
that is, not always, an easy thing to do, um, but I think you know, I think honestly it is one of my strengths, communicating and working with people, and I think we've developed such a great rapport. It's important to me that, that everyone that I interact with feels the respect, feels the gratitude that I have for the work that they do for the school. And, I think strategically you go in and you have to plan uh, with each one of these individuals, and how they're going to give what they have to offer to Columbus. And sometimes it's just about, honestly, John, it's about me just empowering
Yeah.
people
Okay.
to do the job that they're going to do at this school, because there's so much. I mean, there's just a tremendous amount of pride with the alumni and with the parents and with the students and with our faculty, that sometimes it's just a matter of listening and empowering.
Well, what's that old saying? You never learn anything when you're talking. You you learn when
Yeah,
you're listening.
right.
And, you have an ability, and I've watched this, to just listen and assimilate, let it percolate, and then you act. You're not a guy that flies, shoots from the hip in terms of that, and I think it's served you well as we continue to evolve. And so, Dave, every job, it can be a great job, but every job, there are times when it just gets to be, a grind. 10 years, by far the longest tenured principal. What keeps you going? Where does that drive come from? Because you don't rest on your laurels. You're like a shark. If you stop, you're going to die. You got to keep moving. Where's that come from, Dave?
Uh, um, honestly, John, I have a tremendous amount of pride in what I do also, and I don't want to let anybody down. Um,
Mm,
the work ethic I picked up, that's the way I was raised.
yeah.
That was instilled by my mom, and carries through today. The support and sacrifice that I receive, the support I receive from my wife at home, who allows me to dedicate my so much time to Christopher Columbus High School, and she understands what it takes, and the role in my position. Um, it's probably taken 10 years to completely understand. you know,
Well,
uh, it's there's so many people to be thankful for that are in my life that help me to continue to do this. But I think more than anything, I would never want to let this community down. This community has done a lot for me, and there's still so much to do here, and we just continue to grow. There's no time to become stagnant, John.
well, again, using cliches, it's one thing to get to the top. The hardest thing is to stay at the top. And we are at the top in, as you said, almost, well, everything. We're capped in enrollment. We've got a waiting list. We're the best we've ever been academically. We're the best we've ever been athletically. We're the best we've ever been culturally and diversity wise. You know, that is great. Everybody tries to emulate us. We've got a bullseye on our back in every aspect. And so someone has to motivate the troops, and that's you. And one thing I've noticed is you certainly try to surround yourself with the right people, and I think the word trust is vital.
John, I think trust is vital. I think loyalty,
Yeah, yeah.
when it comes to a school like this. Um, But honestly, there were a number of years when I just did my job, and I did a lot of listening, and I observed you and so many different teachers that have retired now since, and gone on before us. But I've learned so much from them, that I'm just not going to ever settle for second best. Our
Hmm.
motto is adelante, moving
Yes. Yeah.
forward.
Yeah.
Um, and to be honest with you, um, we set ourselves up each year with different themes,
Yes.
and that theme, always
Yeah.
ahead, is something that I wake up to in the morning at 4:30. Always ahead. I mean, if I fall back and take a step back, and or don't set the example for being here early, and getting the job started, then I'm afraid that I'm not living up to what we say we do, and what we say we are.
Yeah, and there is pressure with that, but there's also great satisfaction. So, what are some of the little things that remind you, Dave, of how much you love your job? We both know those little intangible, those moments in front of the school, in the cafeteria, in the parking lot, in the hallway, on the sidelines, whatever it may be. What are some of those little things that can go a long, long way?
John, it's just the rapport and the interaction that I have with the young men. I mean, honestly, that's why I'm still in high school today. Um, that's what I enjoy most. Running into the first student on campus,
Yeah,
giving him a fist bump, asking him how his weekend was, uh, you know, empowering them to go out there and create a new club, and watching it after 4 years. Max Fonseca with the gold ties.
yeah, yeah,
Uh,
exactly. Yeah,
and I have to say, uh, it was in July when he sent me an email and said some of the nicest things, some of the most kindest words I've ever read, about the impression that I left on him. So, those are all the reasons that I remain in this field of education. It's not for me. It's to watch those young men grow, um, to meet with them when they come back, whether it's the class of 2004, 2012. Let me see. Well, I'll give you an example. I had an incoming freshman this summer, and I ran out and I gave him a sweatshirt because he didn't have one.
yeah.
So I came back into the cafeteria. I handed it to the young man. I said, "Here, put this on. You can keep it." And 3 days later, he came up to my office and handed me a gift card.
Perfect.
And now I don't do it for the gift card,
No, I know, I know, yeah.
but the fact that he understood that that I went the extra mile for him in just the first week of him being an explorer. And I hope that example, that he pays that forward for the next 4 years, and understands that this is a different place.
Yeah, and in the years to come, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, geez, Pew, we have a cooking club because of you. Whoever figured there'd be a cooking club at Columbus, let alone thrive, you
We've
know?
got so many clubs, John. It's just amazing what these young men get themselves involved in, and they love it. They absolutely love it, and it's what makes that transformational experience happen.
Yes.
That it's more than just an education. These kids are coming in, and they expect that now. I mean, that is an expectation.
You know, Coach Pew, you hit on something a second ago. That feeling of dealing with the boys, and there's an underlying tacit, subtle understanding that yes, we're in charge and we're the adults and you will do what we say, but there's also and it's just in what we do. It's this one day you're going to be like us. One day we're all going to be brothers. One day you're going to be a graduate, and while that tangential understanding is that you were the principal, whatever is still there. It's great and so rewarding to deal with the guys as they get older, as they come back to work at Columbus, or as you know very well, the Adrian Alfonsos and the Jose Munozes and the Albert Bartholomews and those guys that are coming back and are picking up the torch for the future. There's no feeling better than that.
Yeah. John, I couldn't agree more, honestly. And for anybody who's in education, I think that's what continues to drive us each day. And when you don't have that feeling, then it's time to move on.
Yeah, you're right.
But until then, this is what you do, and you don't do it for yourself. I mean, it's selfless. I mean, you literally sacrifice for each and every one of these young men that we have on this campus today, and setting that example so that they'll go out there and continue to make us proud. We talk about it all the time, representing Christopher Columbus High School and what it means from day one.
Yes. You know, and what I love, and you know this, is they just use the term sir all the time, which is great. You know, It's always sir. But there is that Columbus humor. You know, there's that underlying, it's in the water of Westchester, I guess. I don't know. And it's that great phrase, but sir, you know, but sir, come on. You were my age. Come on, sir. You were an idiot too one time, you know, and yeah, I was, you were, you know, thank God there wasn't social media back then, you know, and I think they understand that we understand.
Well, John, listen, I think the word buffoonery was a word that I heard from you each and every day. And without that here, without those characters, they truly make up the essence of what this is all about. And it's why I'm still here at Christopher Columbus High School. Honestly, there's no place better. There really isn't. And we continue to strive to do great things at this school. But yet, you know, the hallways aren't getting any bigger, John.
No.
The classrooms aren't getting any bigger. But yet, you know, our the amount of students that want to come into this school just continues to increase. And it speaks a lot for those who have gone before them. It speaks about this community and the pride that we have in it. For me, there's no other place when when I walk away, I don't think I'll ever go back into another school. I mean, this is where I want to be till the end.
It's impossible. It can't be done. I mean, some people can do it. You'll never be able to do it. I can't. No, it's not going to happen.
Right.
Not going to happen.
Yeah.
Not going to happen for McKee and Trujillo, but it's not going to happen. It's impossible.
Your heart's here. This is it.
Now, Dave, we had this conversation. Things do change. They have to change. Okay. I mean, if you don't change, you get stuck. I mean, and it's okay to change. It's great to have traditions, but man, you got to change. I mean, when I was in school, there was no air conditioning and teachers smoked in class. Okay, that's changed, obviously. When cell phones first came in, you couldn't have a cell phone on campus. Well, that's ridiculous and impractical in today's world. Other things are changing, David, and I know we're ahead of the curve or trying to be anyway. What are the big changes you see coming down the pike that we're going to have to adapt to?
Yeah, I think, our college counselor, she understands that. I think Sylvie Galvez Cuesta understands that. Those people who are leading our students into the next phase, which is colleges and universities, and how that's changing, what that landscape looks like. It's very different than what it was 25 years ago when I was a counselor and trying to get these young men into college. There's a lot of pressure that's being put on high schools to, I think, number one, give these young men or give students the opportunity of exploring career paths.
Okay.
which, we continue to build our career paths here at the school.
Yeah.
Uh, so that it gives them some understanding. The externship program that we have, just phenomenal. I mean, this isn't something that every high school's doing. Providing these opportunities where our students have the opportunity to figure out what it is they want to do before they get to college. Now, they may still change their minds
Sure.
in
Sure.
their majors 2 or 3
Yeah.
times,
Yeah.
which is the national average, but at least we're providing them some background. Um, and then I think you got to look at the what the colleges and universities are doing academically too is changing. The NILs
Mm,
that exist out there.
mm,
It doesn't exist right now in the state of Florida,
yeah.
but it does exist in every college and university. And the
Yeah.
pressure that puts on our young men to maybe, for example, want to graduate early.
Yeah.
The amount of money right now that's out there in that system. Um, I'm not going to speak on whether or not I agree with it. I think it's important for our students to have 4 years of a high school experience. I really do. I think there's something about the traditional high school experience, and finishing it in those last 2 months with grad bash, prom, and graduation.
Yes.
Not to mention baccalaureate mass.
Yes.
I just think there's something to be said about that. But John, like you said, you have to evolve and you have to think outside the box today because there's a lot of change right now.
Well, the fact we're having this conversation proves that the thought's already going into it. And what's
Yep.
going to happen, you can't control what people decide to do, but you can control how you react to it, you know. And failing to prepare is preparing to fail. And so whatever comes, we'll adapt to it, you know. And that's
John,
it.
listen, it's hard to get out in front of because these entities are making decisions, right?
Yeah.
They're not asking high schools how we feel about this or how are we going to adjust to it. So it's up to us to look ahead and move forward and think outside the box. We have a lot of discussions coming up with Chat GPT and how are you going to use AI in the
Yeah.
classroom?
Jesus. Yeah.
Figure that one out.
Yeah. No thanks. But it's part of it.
It's
It's
always a challenge. There's always challenges and obstacles, and it's our responsibility to try to be out in front of it, or at least start discussing these things. Yeah.
David, I know you got a meeting coming up and everything else. We could keep going for a while, but I do think, you know, when the history of Columbus is written, you know, your tenure as principal, it goes beyond the fact you're a Hall of Famer and not blowing smoke. Because again, I don't have to blow smoke at you. Our greatest successes have come during your time as principal. And I know you're not going to take all the credit because it is a team effort, but where we're at, we have gone from a state school, state recognized school to a nationally recognized school. You can use the word powerhouse if you want, whatever. But we are that. And you are the right guy to handle these kind of things. There's been some great moments, there's been some terrible moments, but we weather storms, we move forward, but you're the guy at the forefront. And I can't, on behalf of everybody who's gone to school under you, worked with you, there's not enough gratitude for what you've done, but it's not over yet, Pugh.
No, it's not over. No, listen, John, I appreciate that. And obviously I appreciate more than anything, your support and your friendship. And that's the other thing at Columbus. It's, we're friends, we're brothers, we're sisters, we're a family. The support is tremendous. It's what keeps you moving and keeps you always thinking ahead. So, I appreciate that, John. I do want to, before we close out, I do want to
Yeah.
give a shout out to our boy Paul.
Oh God, yes. Thank you, Dave. Yeah, go ahead.
All right, he's going to retire at the end of this year, and I just want to thank Paul for everything, the 16 years that he provided Christopher Columbus High School. He's going to be okay, but it's time,
Yes.
and nobody can supervise a parking lot like Paul.
You know, Dave, the fact that you as principal you just summed up the Columbus experience from Principal Pugh to parking lot Paul. We all play a role, and there's nothing
Absolutely.
better than seeing Paul's smiling face first thing, 6 o'clock in the morning. There's
5:30.
Paul. Yeah, my God.
He's the first guy I talk to on campus every morning.
Yeah, yeah, my God, and so you're right about that. And Dave, this is a mile marker year, and for a lot of reasons. It's your 10th as principal. Carter Burris turns 80. Steve
Yes.
O'Brien turns 70. 40 years for me. Those are a lot of good round numbers there, man. And so the best is yet to come, David.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love
All
it.
right.
Thank you, John.
Listen, Explore Nation, that's going to wrap up season 4. Looking forward to season 5 and looking forward to what Dave Pugh is going to lead us into next year. I don't know what it's going to be, but it's going to be good. So,
John, I
David,
appreciate you. Thank you. Nobody does it better than you. Thank you.
I'm just trying to be like you, Coach Pugh. That's it, man. That's it. So listen, I know you got things to do. Take some time off. We'll see you and Jen this weekend, as a matter of fact.
Yes. Looking forward to it. Can't wait.
Gonna be Buenos Tiempos right there, Coach Pugh.
Yes, it will be.
All right. Explore Nation, until next school year, which is actually just right around the corner.
2 weeks. Yeah, 2-3 weeks.
Have a great rest of the summer. Adelante, and take it easy.
Adelante,
Thank you,
John. Thank you.
Yeah.
Take care.